Shalom everyone, Yoel here for Land of Scripture, and this video is technically a reaction video, but not really, because I'm not going to be reacting to a direct video. I'm going to be reacting to a claim. So recently I've been seeing a booming number of videos by people who are clearly modern Hebrew speakers, who are very eloquent. They do a beautiful job in their videos when it comes to production and so on. And it was beautiful to watch these videos. I have to admit, it was heartwarming. When I started teaching all those years ago, there was almost nothing like this, and it's beautiful. I mean, again, as I've said before in the past, I can't reach everyone. My channel reach is very small compared to, however, they're getting to everyone with so many views. It sounds like as if I'm envious, but I'm really not. But there was something really interesting that came up. One of the questions I asked myself is what kind of sources people are using. And in one of these videos, there was a claim, and you may have seen this video, there was a claim that the word yes doesn't start from biblical Hebrew. It's some kind of a misunderstanding of a term in the book of Isaiah, chapter 51. I think it's verse 6. It says, Al ken yemutun. So they claim that ken means lice, but somehow it got understood to mean thusly and so on. And I kind of wondered, why would someone make this claim? And the thing that I realized as I was looking at the person's background is that all the literature they have behind them is old literature. Like, we're talking about books which are usually more for, language lovers of the old type. These are books that I used to have copies of these books as well in my library before I realized that you actually have to move on to much more advanced philological material. And it made me wonder how this person came to this. So I made a very, very simple move. And I pulled out my Avraham Even Shushan concordance. And I kind of looked into it, and I looked at the word ken, which we use in modern Hebrew to mean yes, and I asked myself, is it possible that something happened here? So first of all, when you look up the word ken, he writes, he says that basically there are three base meanings: kach, kacha, which means thusly, nechona, emet, which we use to mean yes, and po or ata here and now to create a certain level of urgency. And this word occurs in some variations quite a few times. So the number is it's in the hundreds. They claim the word ken doesn't appear in the Bible. I thought that to be very strange. Even in the meaning yes, it does exist. So I was kind of surprised by this, but I really wanted to understand, how does he get to ken in the sense of lice? And there was this really funny moment when I realized it, where first of all, in the several more examples down on in the book, he says that ken can mean nachon, which means correct or true, and yashar, which means straightforward, and he and then he kind of reaches this point where he uses an example. So this is in the middle column. So this book is built in columns and so on. And in the middle column, he gets to this, ken can mean blood-sucking parasite. And I looked at it, and it was really weird, because the reality is that when we look at this concept, there's no version of the word ken to mean parasite. This is not the normal morphology. Therefore, there must be something else going on here. So first of all, the first thing that came up to mind was the possibility that this individual was basically using a book without really actually thinking for a second, wait, but does this make any sense? I also looked up other things, and I found that common Jewish literature, like Rashi, claims that this means insect, but this is not enough to prove this. So there's basically three problems here. The first one is that there's no such thing as ken to mean a parasite of any sort. It's usually kina or kinim. The other one is usage of Jewish commentaries that have issues with them sometimes, because there could be a marginal comment or something that tries to compare something to something else, sounds like, and so on, and there is something like that in Rashi. And the other one is not checking manuscripts. And the reality is that there's no variation that shows that this means kina or kinim. Everything shows very clearly, every manuscript very closely clearly, that this is the word ken, in the sense of yes, thusly, or truly, or in haste, and so on. So my response here is basically, you have to be very, very careful how you use these types of sources. And I point out, by the way, that Kedari, for example, in his dictionary, points out that this actually does not mean parasite. This actually means yes. And the argument that the word ken doesn't appear in the Hebrew Bible seems to be incorrect. So basically debunked. Kol tuv.